Herding Gods, Episode 38. Interpreting the original classic, savoring the destinies of its characters. Hello everyone. I'm the content creator from the Gueman section, Fei Tian Xin Hong. Fellow fans of Tale of the Herding God, please give this video a thumbs up and show your support. To continue our story. On their way from Zhongling Commandery to the capital city, Qin Mu and Wei Yong encountered the rebellion of the Jade Dragon sect. The 500 Zhongling lions were annihilated. The leader was the young master of the Jade Dragon sect, Long Jiaonan. Long Jiaonan currently appears to be a man but will later become a curvaceous woman. After the Jade Dragon sect is wiped out, Long Jiaonan will often seek out Qin Mu for revenge, appearing with extremely high frequency as a fated rival type of character. Right now, the Jade Dragon sect raises snakes, but its founding patriarch Huan Longjun was actually a professional dragon raiser, so the name Jade Dragon sect is actually quite fitting. After this whole mess with Long Jiaonan, Qin Mu and Wei Yong finally arrived at the capital of the Eternal Peace Empire. Qin Mu refused Wei Yong's invitation to stay at the Duke's mansion, wanting to spend the night at a brothel instead. Why was Qin Mu looking for a brothel? Because the master of the brothel hall, Fu Qingyun, who was the first woman to have ever kissed him, once said that when he gets to the capital, he should go to the brothel to find her. After Qin Mu and Wei Yong parted ways, he took Hu Linger and walked down Fenghua Street. In the flower alley, Qin Mu looked at the buildings on both sides. The tiles here were green, but the buildings themselves were vermilion, with lanterns hanging in front of the doors. Some young ladies on the upper floors waved at him, calling out, "Come on up and play, handsome." Qin Mu thought to himself, this isn't a Qing Lu green building. He had thought a Qing Lu brothel was literally a green-colored building, but now he discovered the buildings were actually red, which was different from what he had imagined. Hu Linger asked, "Young Master Mu, do you know them? They sound very enthusiastic." Qin Mu said, "It was like this last time I went to Xianglong City. Some of the ladies were very enthusiastic. I'm still not used to it." Qin Mu walked deeper inside, looking at the signs along the way. The flower alley was very deep, and after many twists and turns, he reached the inner part. It wasn't as bustling anymore. The girls here were very reserved, leaning by windows holding a pipa, with the instrument half covering their faces as they played softly. The atmosphere was clear, cool, and quiet. Walking further in, the sound of a qin could be heard. Qin Mu looked through an open door and saw light gauze curtains fluttering in a courtyard where several young girls were running around between the drapes while a woman tuned her qin. As he walked, he could hear girls practicing their singing and dancing upstairs, with bell-like laughter ringing out from time to time, very playful and cute. By this point, there weren't as many pedestrians in the alley. From time to time, one or two men would walk out of the courtyards as if they were the masters of the house, with charming women arranging their clothes for them and seeing them off. However, these men would cover their faces upon seeing Qin Mu, as if afraid of being recognized. Qin Mu was puzzled. It's not like it's a shameful thing to walk out of one's own house. Why do they need to cover their faces? City folks are really strange. He walked to the depths of the flower alley and saw a building with the 3 words Ting Yugu, listening to rain pavilion. The doors of this pavilion were tightly shut, but it seemed to have a deep, quiet courtyard. Qin Mu walked up and knocked. A girl asked who he was looking for, and he said he was looking for Fu Ching Yun. When the girl asked for his name, he replied, "My surname is Qin." The girl went to announce him. After a moment, the door opened again, revealing a familiar face, the master of the brothel hall, Fu Qingyun. When she saw Qin Mu, she was both surprised and delighted. "Young master, you've finally come. Quickly, come inside. Sisters, come serve tea, the young master is here." Hearing that the young master had arrived, the clear voices of girls immediately came from inside, and a group of them came towards Qin Mu. He saw a fluttering crowd of blue, green, red, and purple before him. It was dazzling. The girls of Ting Yugu each had their own unique charm. Some were soft and fragrant, some were as cold as ice, some were delicate and charming, and some were as passionate as fire. It was a mesmerizing array of beauties. Fu Qingyun quickly said, "Go away, all of you, go away. The young master has traveled a long way and is tired. Don't pester him. Hurry up and prepare some tea." Only then did the girls disperse. Qin Mu immediately felt the pressure lessen. He really couldn't handle it when the crowd of girls swarmed him just now. Fu Ching Yun led him to an elegant room and said, these girls lack discipline. Please don't mind them, young master. Things are getting chaotic and war-torn outside, it's a bit dangerous. You must have encountered many incidents along the way. Qin Mu said, indeed, I ran into some minor trouble, but luckily, it wasn't truly dangerous. Please notify the upper echelons of the cult to meet with the patriarch. Fu Qingyun smiled and said, the patriarch has been waiting for you for a long time, young master. Actually, the patriarch has already instructed us that as soon as we met you, we were to have you go see him. Just then, a girl came up to serve tea, secretly sizing up Qin Mu and giggling shyly. Qin Mu returned a smile and asked, Sister Yuner, where do I go to see him? When the girl heard Qin Mu call Fu Qingyun Sister Yuner, she giggled shyly again. Fu Qingyun shot her a look, shooed her out, and then smiled, naturally, to the Imperial College. Have some tea, young master. Qin Mu was surprised. Isn't the Imperial College a place for scholars to study? Why would I go to the Imperial College to see the Patriarch? Fu Qingyun said, the Patriarch is the Grand Libationer of the Imperial College. It's a third-rank official position in the Eternal Peace Empire. He is in charge of the Imperial College, so naturally, he lives there. The Imperial Scholars of the Imperial College, although they have the honorary title of Students of the Son of Heaven, are actually all the Patriarch's students. Qin Mu was greatly shocked to hear this. All the Imperial Scholars of the Imperial College are students of the Patriarch? The Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor and Emperor Yanfeng actually dared to give this official position to the Patriarch of the Heavenly Devil Cult? Fu Qingyun seemed to have read Qin Mu's mind and explained, the Patriarch wanders the mortal world. No one knows his true identity. In fact, he is highly respected and of great prestige. As early as the previous emperor's reign, he was already a world-renowned mysterious reclusive master. Even the Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor once sought his guidance. It was also the Imperial Preceptor who strongly vouched for him, allowing him to become the Grand Libationer of the Imperial College. Here, I need to explain something. The Imperial Preceptor knew the Patriarch's identity and specifically invited him to be the Grand Libationer of the Imperial College. The Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor adheres to an ideology of being open and inclusive and holds no prejudice against the Heavenly Devil Cult. He's nothing like the Li River Sword sect, who are always shouting about slaying demons and defending the righteous path. The 5 elders of Li River got worked up, and as a result, they doomed the entire Li River Sword sect, which was truly quite tragic. Later on, you will discover that the Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor is actually a very reliable person. He is solely focused on reform, wanting to make the Eternal Peace Empire bigger and stronger, and he has no selfish motives. Qin Mu still found this news hard to digest. The position of Grand Libationer, although its third-rank status doesn't seem very high, is actually incredibly important. The Imperial College controls all the world's techniques and divine arts, compiling them into scrolls. It can be said to be the repository of all martial arts and divine arts in the world, the holiest of holy lands. It's supreme. The officials of the Eternal Peace Empire often graduate from the Imperial College, and every person who graduates from here can be considered a student of the Patriarch, sharing a bond of master and disciple. The official rank isn't high, but its influence is immense. Combined with the Patriarch's hidden identity, it's truly formidable. Fu Qingyun told Qin Mu to rest for a few days before going to the Imperial College, explaining that he would need to pass some tests to get in. Not just anyone can get into the Imperial College, you must become an Imperial Scholar to enter. In other words, Qin Mu, at the age of a primary school student, would need to skip grades to get into the Imperial College. Qin Mu said, Sister Yuner, I don't have a place to stay yet. How about I stay here for a few days? Fu Qingyun whispered, it's certainly possible for you to stay here, young master. It's just that, you must be wary of the little vixens here. They are cunning and would love nothing more than to usurp my position and become the cult master's wife. Qin Mu blushed bright red, as he hadn't expected something like this. Fu Qingyun giggled. Young master, if you blush like this, you won't be able to withstand their teasing. Come with me. I've arranged a room for you. Then, Fu Qingyun led Qin Mu to her own room, where even the bedding smelled fragrant. She quickly said, this is just my humble room. If you're not satisfied, young master, we can find another. Qin Mu said, this room is fine, and placed his bundle on the table. But Fu Qingyun remained in the room, not leaving. Biting her red lips, she said softly, "Does the young master have any other requests?" Fu Qingyun was implying that whatever the young master needed, she could satisfy. But Qin Mu just said, "No, that's all. Thank you, Sister Yun'er." As Qin Mu was speaking, the bundle on the table moved, and out crawled a little white fox carrying a tiny bundle of its own. Fu Qingyun glanced at it, then turned and walked out muttering, "No wonder, he brought his own little vixen." Qin Mu had really managed to annoy Fu Qingyun. Hu Linger had been drinking in the bundle and was now completely drunk. Qin Mu picked her up, tossed her into the bed, where she hugged a pillow and fell asleep. Qin Mu was exhausted from evading the Jade Dragon sect's pursuit and was very tired. He immediately lay down and fell into a deep sleep. In the middle of the night, he woke up hungry and got out of bed. Seeing that Hu Linger was still asleep, he didn't wake her. Qin Mu walked out of the room where a girl was waiting. "Young master, you're awake," she said. "My sister knew you must be hungry, so she already prepared a meal and had me wait here to invite you to dine." Qin Mu thanked her and followed her to an elegant room in Ting Yugu. Through the window and past the bamboo grove, one could see a pavilion, a rockery, and a pond, creating a very tranquil scene. Qin Mu sat down as several girls filed in, setting down dishes until the table was full. In the pavilion outside the window, a girl in white arrived with a qin. She sat down and began to play softly. After a moment, a few more girls arrived. One held a pipa, another a long shao flute, and another a guzheng, and they began to play their instruments. Qin Mu ate his meal, watching and listening intently, feeling utterly relaxed and refreshed. While eating, Qin Mu watched the girls play. His gaze fell on the qin player's lively, dancing index finger. He unconsciously put down his bowl and chopsticks, his own fingers mimicking the movements. His attention then shifted to the girl with the pipa, studying her fingering technique. Then he watched the flute player's fingers, completely mesmerized. Qin Mu suddenly had a realization about the thunderclap 8-strike second form, finger-flicking thunder. He realized that pipa techniques weren't just about plucking, there was also Qiao Mo Go Ti De, and Zhai. Qin Mu's eyes grew brighter and brighter. Watching the girls play, he felt an urge to play himself, his heart stirring with anticipation. He was so engrossed that he forgot all about his food. He suddenly stood up, took a step forward, and crashed right through the window lattice, shattering it. In a few steps, he was in the pavilion where he snatched the pipa from a girl named Yuer and began to play. At this moment, Qin Mu seemed to have entered a strange, wondrous state. He held the pipa, and with a single pluck, it produced not a clear melodious tune, but a crackling thunderous sound that split the air, startling all the girls. Simply put, it was as if Qin Mu had gone mad. He didn't know music, yet he played randomly, completely lost in his own world. The exasperated girls took up their own instruments to duel with him, and the scene instantly devolved into a cacophony. Fu Qingyun walked over, a look of surprise on her face. She hurried back to her room to get her own pipa and said, "The young master is comprehending a divine art. Sisters, step back. I will lend him a hand." Fu Qingyun could tell that within Qin Mu's music was a technique from a heavenly devil cult known as the Heavenly Devil's Rhapsody, but this was only part of it. Clearly, Qin Mu was trapped in a wondrous state, unable to pull himself out. He must be comprehending something far more profound, trying to fuse different elements together. Fu Qingyun understood Qin Mu's true intention and was relieved. This state of frenzied enlightenment is extremely rare, one can only enter it during deep states of comprehension. It is a state of frenzied enlightenment, no madness, no life, no madness, no enlightenment. Fu Qingyun's skill in music was extremely high. She held her pipa, and the melody that flowed from her fingertips started simply. She was trying to guide Qin Mu, helping him merge all these disparate techniques into one. After a long time, Fu Qingyun noticed that Qin Mu was gradually emerging from his state. Their music harmonized, collaborating on a piece called Auspicious Dragon and Phoenix, which brought Qin Mu back to his senses. He looked around in surprise, only then realizing the great commotion he had caused, and hurriedly apologized to Fu Qingyun. Fu Qingyun smiled. "You still haven't eaten, young master. You've been at this all night, and the sky is almost light." Qin Mu quickly called over the little vixen, who feared only that the world wasn't chaotic enough, to eat with him. After eating, Qin Mu took the empty bowls and plates to wash them. Seeing this, a few of the girls rushed over to take them, saying, "Young master, how can you do such menial chores? Please, leave it to us."
Qin Mu smiled.
"There's no such thing as noble or menial work, only the person doing it. I've already washed them, so there's no need for you to dirty your hands." Fu Qingyun asked, "Young master, what is your current cultivation realm?" Qin Mu replied, "I'm still at the spirit embryo realm."
Fu Qingyun frowned slightly.
"The spirit embryo realm is a bit too low. It will be very difficult to enter the Imperial College. Even when the Imperial College makes exceptions to recruit scholars, it's usually for martial practitioners who have opened the 5 elements divine treasure. At just the spirit embryo realm, I'm afraid you won't be able to pass the assessment." She had originally thought Qin Mu would at least be at the 5 elements realm. After all, when she met him 3 years ago, he was already at the spirit embryo realm. She never expected that in the past 3 years, Qin Mu hadn't progressed at all. Fu Qingyun said, "There are still 2 days until the Imperial College entrance exams. You should try to break through. Try your best to succeed within these 2 days." Although Fu Qingyun said this, but she knew in her heart that breaking through the barrier in 2 days was nearly impossible. Qin Mu nodded with a smile. "In 2 days," he said, "I will definitely succeed." Fu Qingyun shooed the other girls away. "For these next 2 days, don't any of you bother the young master. Little fox, you don't stay here either. Let the young master focus on his comprehension." Since leaving the Great Ruins, Qin Mu had been trying to open the 5 elements divine treasure and enter the 5 elements realm. Having diligently studied the great educational heavenly devil scriptures these past days, he had gained much insight. The 5 elements divine treasure, also known as the Wuxing divine treasure, is located between the nipples. The heart is also known as the Vermilion Palace. The heavenly devil scriptures say that opening the 5 elements divine treasure requires locating the star positions, which refer to the celestial bodies of metal, wood, water, fire and earth. These correspond to the 5 elements within the body's 5 elements divine treasure. Because everyone's physique, development, and gender are different, the positions of the 5 elements within the divine treasure also differ. Therefore, one must use the celestial 5 elements to calculate the body's 5 elements, pinpoint the star positions, and then break through with vital qi. Qin Mu took out a thick stack of paper, a charcoal pencil, and an abacus from his bundle. Beside them were 10 books on mathematics. He opened the papers, which were filled with dense calculations. He was using a method of circular equations to calculate the 5 element positions and had been working for days, nearing the end. The abacus clattered ceaselessly. When the sun was high, Qin Mu stretched, stood up, and moved his body. On the first sheet of paper, he had drawn a heart surrounded by dense text. The equations formed 5 lines, creating a pentagram around the heart, with each point labeled with the attributes of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. He had converted the principles of creation and destruction into numbers to calculate the star positions and had finally pinpointed the exact location of his Vermilion Palace. After moving around, Qin Mu began to slowly circulate his vital qi, letting it flow with vigor. As it passed through the spirit embryo, his vital qi became even more immense until it finally reached its peak. Inside the spirit embryo divine treasure, the spirit embryo on the altar stood up. Its hands reached for the sky, and 5 streams of vital qi from each hand surged into the divine treasure's sky. They merged in pairs to form 5 stars. Threads of vital qi connected these stars, forming a pentagram pattern that gradually brightened like a mirror. With a hum, light shone down from the spirit embryo divine treasure, opening the Ren and Du meridians. It traveled down his throat and with another hum, shone upon his heart. Qin Mu's immense vital qi erupted, surging along the path of light and crashing down on the illuminated point. A roar echoed in his ears as an invisible gate in his heart burst open. The formless barrier was shattered by his vital qi, vanishing without a trace. The 5 elements divine treasure was thus opened. A divine voice sounded in his mind, but before it could interfere with his vital qi, the breakthrough was complete. Let's congratulate Qin Mu on finally advancing to the 5 elements realm and becoming a martial practitioner. When Fu Qingyun found Qin Mu in the courtyard, she chided him slightly, "Young master, why aren't you cultivating? Why have you come out?" Qin Mu opened his eyes. His aura was steadily rising, and his cultivation was growing richer. He smiled. "I've broken through." Fu Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. She stared at him, wide-eyed in disbelief. "Young master, what did you break through?" she stammered.
Qin Mu smiled.
"I broke the barrier of the 5 elements divine treasure." Fu Ching Yun felt a little dizzy. "But I just left your room a short while ago." Unless, she thought as her heart pounded, unless Qin Mu's vital qi was exceptionally profound, only then could he have succeeded in one attempt. "Let's test our vital qi," Fu Ching Yun said. "I'll seal my other divine treasures, leaving only my spirit embryo and 5 elements, to see just how profound your cultivation is."
Qin Mu nodded.
The two touched palms, and their vital qi erupted. Fu Ching Yun let out a muffled grunt. The wind howled in her ears, the scenery blurred, and she was sent flying backward. Bang! 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 She crashed through several pavilions and a tall wall. Only then did her momentum stop, embedding her in another wall. Covered in dust, she pulled herself free. Looking up, she saw she was over 40 zhong away from Qin Mu. The buildings and walls in between all had a human-shaped hole punched through them. Seeing this, Fu Qingyun couldn't help but feel a lingering shock. His vital qi is just too powerful. The young cult master is truly amazing. Qin Mu rushed forward. "Sister Yuner, are you okay?" "Haha, how could she be okay? Sister Fu Qingyun was nearly knocked out by you."
Fu Qingyun smiled. "I'm fine."
"Young master, your cultivation is truly profound. The patriarch and matriarch certainly chose the right person. There's still a day and a half until the Imperial College exams. You should probably stabilize your new realm." Qin Mu agreed. With the successful breakthrough and the opening of the divine treasure, new changes were occurring in his body that he hadn't had time to inspect. Fu Qingyun glanced around and gave a wry smile. Since Qin Mu had arrived, Ting Yugu had suffered. First, he destroyed the pavilion in his musical frenzy, and now he'd punched holes through several buildings. She thought to herself, well, he is the young cult master. He demolishes things wherever he goes. Good thing in 2 days he'll be gone from here, and off to demolish the Imperial College. The patriarch can have that headache. I can finally relax. Qin Mu returned to his room and sat down quietly, his consciousness entering the 5 elements divine treasure. Within it was a starry sky with 5 large, shining stars. Beyond them was only deep darkness. Why did Qin Mu fall into a frenzy while exploring his divine treasure? To find out, tune in next time. For more exciting plot analysis, please continue to follow Fei Tian Xin Hong. Interpreting the destinies of its characters. The original author of Tale of the Herding God is Zhai Zhu. Don't go out after dark. Like, subscribe, and share to stay safe.